Welcome, everyone. Wonderful to have you all for another week here at the Aguda. A busy week. We are sponsored by the Fisher family, Linishmas Basi Bas Rabbi Shlomo ben Avram Alevi, Perel Bas Ruvain, Linishmas Dav ben Chaim, Lefu Shalem for Yomis Mechai Sar, Yaakov ben Bas Yalev, Schutz Avram and Yom Benish ben Mak Yudis and family, by Yol Klugman and family, Lefu Shalem for Avigdor Aryeh ben Rivka, Ishmael ben Esther Fadel, Rivka Bashir Alei, Devorah Bas Shashabina, Meir ben Chai Sar. They should have a refuah shalema b'seich shechel Yisrael. We are holding in the fifth parak of Idiyos, and we are up to Mishna Beis. Rabbi Yaisi Aimer, again a whole different variety of halachas. Rabbi Yaisi Aimer, Shisha Dvar Mikulei Beis Shammai u'Mechumrei Beis Hillel. Rabbi Yaisi related 6 items that are from the leniencies of Beis Shammai and the stringencies of Beis Hillel. Beis Shammai says you could bring chicken and cheese to the table as long as you don't eat them together. You can't even bring it together on the table. Now the question is, we know that you can't be Torah min b'she'eina mina. You can't be Torah from something that is not its own kind. What about the fruit and its liquid? In other words, what about, can you take truma from olive oil, or vice versa? What about wine from grapes, or vice versa? So Beis Shammai says you can. Beis Shammai says Tormin zeisim ala shemen. You could take off truma from olives for olive oil, vanovim al yayin, and from grapes for wine. K'divrei Beis Shammai. Or Beis Hillel says you're not allowed to do this. Ein Tormin. Now, if you plant wheat within 4 amas of a vineyard, that's kloya kerem, and it says tukdash, tukad eish, it has to be burnt with fire. The question is, how deep into the vineyard do you have to burn it? It causes 1 row of vines to be aser, while it causes 2 rows of vines to be aser. Hama'isa. Now, me'isa is a food where you take flour, you scald it with water, and then you bake it. Shaila is that going to be chayiv in challah? Beis Shammai says no. Ha'me'isa Beis Shammai paitrim, because since you boiled it first before you baked it, it's not chayiv in challah. Beis Hillel says since you baked it, mechayiv, and it is chayiv. Now here you have a situation where water is running down a cliff. It's running down a slope, and it ends up in the bottom in a pool of water. But that pool of water is less than 40 sa. But together with the water that's running down on the mountain with the pool on the bottom, it is 40 sa. The question is, can you combine that you should be able to be toivel in it? So, madbilan bechardelis. The opinion of Beis Shammai is that you could be toivel something, let's say a spoon or a fork, in this water that's rushing down the slope, as long as together with the pool of the water on the bottom, you have a total of 40 sa. Beis Hillel says that unless the water ba'ashbayran on the bottom in the collected pool is 40 sa, it cannot combine, and you wouldn't be able to be toivel in it. And Gershin is Gayer Arvei Psachim. Very interesting, right? The week of Pesach, right? Week of Pesach. A ger that's Megayer on Erev Pesach. So can he then eat the korban Pesach in the night? So Beis Shammai says, why not? Beis Shammai, I'm in Toivel. He goes to the mikveh. V'oichel es piskei l'erev. And he could eat the Pesach that night. Beis Hillel, I'm in Peiresh min ha'orla. One who separates himself from Orla. He was mezuam, he was loathsome, and he separated himself because that day on the day that he was Megayer, he had a bris milah. So one who was Pirish min ha'olah k'pirish min ha'kever, it's like separating from a grave, and you need 7 days, you need hazah shlishi u'shvi, and therefore he won't be able to eat the korban Pesach that night. Rabbi Yishmael Aimer, Now we learn Mishna Gimel. Rabbi Yishmael, Mishloisha Dvar Mikule Beis Shammai and Mechumrei Beis Hillel. The following three are from the leniencies of Beis Shammai and the stringencies of Beis Hillel. Koheles Eina Mitame Es Yadayim. Kedivra Beis Shammai. According to Beis Shammai, Koheles, written by Shlomo HaMelech, is not divinely inspired. It's therefore not considered one of the Sifrei Kodesh, and therefore, you see, one of Yud Ches Gezeres that they made, the Beis Nitzah Belud, is that in order, what they used to do is it says you should protect the Truma, so they used to put the Truma into the Aron Kodesh with the Svar. Then mice would come to get the Truma and eat at the Sifrei Kodesh. So therefore, in order to make sure that they weren't kept together, they made a takana that Sifrei Kodesh is Metame the Truma. It's Metame Es Yadayim, it's Metame the Truma. So therefore, it actually passes the Truma, because it makes it a Shlishi, which is passes the Truma. The question is Koheles in that umbrella of Sifrei Kodesh? So Koheles ain't Metame Es Yadayim. They didn't give it to Koheles because Beis Shammai holds it's not divinely inspired. Kedivra Beis Shammai or Beis Hillel Metame Es Yadayim. The Koheles has the regular tuma of other Sifrei Kodesh. Meichatus she'osu mitzvasim. If there's meichatus, water of lustration, that's the water with the ash of the paraduma that was sprayed on, let's say Yaakov was tamei, so they sprayed him with the water of lustration, and then the water bounced off him and hit Reb Avram Shenkman. Now, normally the meichatus is metame, but this is meichatus shenasa mitzvasa. Its mitzvah is already performed. Is it still metame? So meichatus she'asa mitzvasa, that the mitzvah is already done with it. Beis Shammai metame. Beis Shammai says it's not metame anymore. Well, Beis Hillel metame. Beis Hillel says even after the mitzvah is done, it's still metame, and it would be metame Avram. Finally, haketzach. Now, ketzach is a black seed that's added to bread. On its own, it's not edible. It has a foul odor. But when it's added to bread, it's considered healthy and it's good for the heart. So the question is, since it is eaten and it's considered beneficial when added to bread, maybe it is going to be Mekabel Tumah. Or since it's not an oichel on its own, it's not Mekabel Tumah. The same question is whether it's chayiv v'maisus or not. So haketach, this type of black seed, Beis Shammai metam. Beis Shammai says since it can't be eaten on its own, it's not Mekabel Tumah, it's not a food, it's not Mekabel Tumah. Beis Hillel metam. Beis Hillel says since you do add it to bread, and when it's added to bread, it's beneficial for the heart, then it is considered a food, and it is Mekabel Tumah. V'chein l'maisus. According to Beis Shammai, it's not a food, it's not chayiv v'maisus. According to Beis Hillel, it is chayiv v'maisus. After Mariv, I will be available to do Mechiras Chametz. At 8:15, we will have the Daf Yomi, which will be 2 blat tonight. We're getting ahead for Yom Tov, so we're going to learn 2 blat tonight.